Hi, today I'm going to run this Marshall Full Stack with all knobs on 5. I'm going to plug into the lead channel, high input, so it's going to be a typical gainy 70s hard rock tone. I really like this tone. This is exactly the tone I'm going for. You know, the mid-70s Kiss sound and basically all other 70s hard rock bands as well, but especially the Ace Frehley guitar tone. Now, whereas this is great tone, it's not that easy to play it if you just plug straight into the amp with the guitar volume on full. It's kind of like driving a Mack truck. You know, it doesn't feel that it doesn't comply with your playing, and it doesn't have the oomph required. So you have to fight with it. In earlier videos, I've shown you how. And you've seen that elsewhere, of course, also. But I've looked at how these overdrives and many others sound on a clean Marshall, and we've compared that to the amp distortion. And every time we've come to the conclusion that the amp distortion is much better, but these are also cool sounds that you can have as complement. But I think a more interesting test or application of this is to push this amp that is already dirty, you know, with all knobs on 5, with these, and push it quite hard, so it, you know, it becomes just total mayhem. But you roll back the guitar volume. I actually haven't done that much earlier, you know, for some reason, but I've done it recently. They do just an amazing job, because you can get a sound that has the qualities of the driven full stack, but with more oomph and you know, it really helps you more, and it's a bit more nimble. I don't know what word to use. And for some of these, this is a treble booster and a booster and 3 overdrives. For the treble booster, especially when you roll back the volume, you get a nice stringy sound and completely cleans when you have you play lighter, and when you play hard, you have the exact same sound basically as the stack. So first, let's have a look at what it sounds like with the treble booster here. I'm going to have the guitar volume at 2.5. So roll back quite a lot, and then the amp here with all knobs on 5. Let's check it out. So I think this is a really high resolution sound. You know, you get perfect cleans when you hit it very lightly. And even when you hit it really hard, you still have the stringy sound. So it gives an organic feel to it. I really liked this, and it's so much easier to play it. So I could play a bit more varied than I usually do. You can see the time tags here, what we're going to do in this clip. But in the end of this video, we're going to compare all these five overdrives or boost pedals and see how do they sound with the kind of the pedal set hot and you roll back the guitar volume. But first now I'm going to have two of them, the treble booster K&B range 2 and the LPB1 booster, you know, the one that Ace Frehley used. And I'm going to have a couple of, so you can see the range you can get with rolling back to different extents. I'm going to have between 1 and 5, I think, or 6, 7, maybe even for some riffs. So you use that, combine it in different ways. Then you have the close mic and the room mic and have different combinations. I think it's quite a cool range of sounds. So let's check that out. All right, so the LPB1 is a full range booster, and the K&B range 2 is a treble booster. So you could hear the much rounder and fuller sound of the LPB1, and the more stringy sound you get from the treble booster. I think they complement each other really well for different riffs. One interesting thing here is that the treble booster, I didn't expect it, but having the guitar volume rolled off, it was so super easy to play with the treble booster, much harder to play with the LPB1. But there are so many factors that are interconnected here, in the sound chain. So it's hard to draw any conclusions. Now we're going to compare these 5 pedals with the volume rolled back. Let's check it out. All right. There's, of course, a whole lot more gain in the 3 overdrive pedals we did at the end here than the 2 vintage pedals. And I only used one setting here, and I wanted to set them pretty hot, so I could have maybe dialed the gain back a bit. But I think it's clear, nonetheless, that it, and from other experiences also, that these overdrive pedals takes away some of the natural qualities, I think, of the sound. They kind of saturate certain frequencies, so they cut through the mix. For some mixes that is desirable, but for really open mixes it is not desirable, and they make them sound like 80s metal a bit, which is great if you want 80s metal, but not great with this rig. All right, now let's finish with one more riff comparing these 5 pedals. Cheers.